Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Nest. This is HerNest with Rose Joy, where healthcare, soul care, and self care blend to birth wellness. So, guys, tuko kwa ile misimu. First of all, before we even continue, how cute are these little bangles? This one is written pretty girl, and this other one full of colors is written princess. Guess who bought me these cute little bangles, or how do we call them? Are they shambalas? Ama hata sijui tunaziitaje. But guess who got me these cute little, let me call them bracelets. These cute little bracelets. None other than my brother. By the way, some of these things you need to be put on for you to feel how intentional or how beautiful some moments are. Sometimes you can tell yourself, I'm not a gifts person, they don't really give me that type of feeling. But maybe tu ni juu huwa hukui gifted. But once you start being gifted, you enjoy it. Okay, guys, I felt so nice. Kwanza venye alileta, he's like, close your eyes. And I'm like, let me see what you've bought me. And he was like, kuangalia. Okay, just felt so nice. They're so simple. And I don't know, at buy how much. I don't even want to know. But I just felt nice. So mi ushinda nimezivaa so that he can see that he actually did something beautiful and he can continue with that culture of gifting people and just seeing how appreciative I am about this whole gift. I felt so nice. Aki, you don't know how nice I felt. Yeah, I think I'll start being intentional about gifting people. And for me, I always wanted to gift, but I was always broke. Anytime I find myself, maybe it's someone's birthday, it just finds me broke. Like for my sisters, I really wanted to gift you guys. You hata hamtaijua how special you guys are to me. And I really wanted to gift you. But sasa, Aki, all your birthdays find me broke. But now I have to think outside the box. This whole nini of being broke. In fact, as we go to 2026, 2026 is going to be a year of abundance. Yeah. This whole broke thing and nini, we are leaving it behind in 2025. So I have to make sure that I plan myself well around my finances so that I have the capacity to gift people. Because, gifts just, hizi vitu ni ndogo, but I feel so nice. I feel sijui hata, I don't know how I can explain it, but I just remember feeling so nice about the whole gifting thing. That's one of those things that I'm going to intentionally invest in so that I can just, make people feel good. And so anyway, I got overtaken by that, the gifting thing, but it's just because of how I feel and how it has made me feel. So I just felt like I have to share it with you guys. And so today we are going to talk about eating through the season. Tuko kwa ile misimu. Misimu ya machakula. Yes, we are eating. We have events, celebration. Christmas is right at the corner. And December just has that vibe of celebration and end-year events, team building activities, celebrations, wedding, anniversaries, birthdays, Since time immemorial, we've always been celebrating and food is at the center of any celebration. I doubt if food is taken away from all these events, all these celebrations and events. I doubt if those events could actually be a thing. Some of these things exist because there's that emotional aspect that food brings into the whole vibe of the event. And so food and celebration, one WhatsApp group. And now today we are going to talk about how can we eat with intentionality and being mindful even during the holidays. And sometimes for us who have different or difficult relationships with food, this is that time of the year when things may feel a little bit overwhelming and then you end up feeling guilty. Either because you broke a certain pattern or a certain routine, or you indulge on some things that probably are not healthy, or you are not mindful of how you are eating. And now I just want to ensure that as we move closer to the real events, to the real day, How are we going to handle ourselves so that we eat with mindfulness, we eat with intentionality, and we enjoy the vibe of the celebration? It's one thing to be so strict on yourself until you don't end up enjoying how the food is. So I want us to enjoy the holidays. I want us to enjoy the Christmas season, but we're not going to do this at the expense of our peace, at the expense of our health, and at the expense of our emotions. Now, let us first understand what is the relationship between holidays and food, because holiday food isn't just food. Anyway, we've been eating throughout the year. There's nothing unique about eating, and for most or a majority of people, you're not going to eat anything strange that we've not eaten throughout the year. You're just going to eat these same foods that you've been eating all this time. But the fact that it is surrounded with events, with celebration in December, in that context, food stops just being food. It now carries a certain representation. And the first thing is family culture. Family culture, because this is the time when we have urban-rural migration. Or we can also say rural migration, or there's just a lot of movement and people are moving from one area to another because of family. Either you're going on a vacation as a family, or you are traveling from town to your village to meet your family and other extended family members. And there's just a whole family thing going on. And because food that you eat as a family carries that family culture with it, where once we find ourselves together, be it for good reasons or for sad reasons, because again, we have events such as funerals that bring family together, but only that this time it is carrying heaviness, it is carrying a lot of emotions and grief with it. But now we also have other events or other holidays that bring family together, including this December season when people are moving from town, they're coming back to their villages, or they're just meeting up as families wherever they are. They're just meeting up as families. And so there's a whole karamu. There's a whole celebration behind the whole thing. So family culture is one of those things that make this food not just ordinary food. It now represents family culture. Another thing is childhood memories. Personally, December is among those days when family came together. That is in my memory. This is the time when we see that cousin whom we've not seen for the past 11 months. We see Uncle so-and-so, Auntie so-and-so. We go and visit our grandparents wherever they are. And I also remember during those days in our family, even if we don't have anything good that has been planned, or we don't have a whole event that has been planned around Christmas Day and December in general is those days when you just enjoy good food at home. Even if you've been eating all this food throughout the year, the December food just tastes different. And it even tastes better. The more the merrier. If you have people coming in, friends, relatives, and other people whom you are sharing this meal together with. So childhood memories is also one of those things that this food brings on the table. Another thing is usually emotional comfort. This one is not necessarily tied to the holidays, but the saying that a hungry man is an angry man. Anytime someone is well fed, someone has had good food, the vibe just changes. Mtu ameshiba, they've enjoyed their lunch, or is it breakfast or dinner? It's just vibes all the way, because food has that emotional touch to it, whereby you eat this food and now you just feel like you have refreshed your body. You just feel nice because of the food that you've eaten. And that's why there's now studies that are coming out explaining that we have certain foods that have certain ingredients that are tied to giving you that dopamine kind of effect in your body. So you get addicted to these kinds of food, which now predispose you to other diseases, other chronic illnesses, because these nutrients or the ingredients that are in this food are not usually healthy. But unfortunately, you have now created this bond with this food. You are addicted. You just want to have this food. So those are also some of those things that we are going to consider to make sure that we are equally taking care of our health and we are equally enjoying the food that we have. And another representation of food is love. I think dates exist because of food. Yeah, because food was there originally before dates even came. And why do we have food on dates? even if it's an indoor date. Like, food has to be associated with love, where people are having, let's say, celebrating love. It could be anniversary or a wedding. Food has to be there, and we have to share that food, including that cake that is usually put out there. It's because we want to share this food as a symbol of love, that, this house or these people have come and they have merged together, and as a representation of love, so we are going to enjoy this food together. So food is also a representation of love. And lastly, food can be equally a representation of stress. And this boils down to the relationship you have with food. If food is associated with things that make you feel some type of way, or things that make you not happy about yourself, then of course stress is going to be that indicator when it comes to food. Remember, we are having all these events with people, we have all these celebration and everything about the holidays that has food tied around it. If you have a bad relationship with your body, if you still have a problem with how you have, especially when it comes to body image, because it is a lack of food that makes you malnourished, or it is excess food that makes you overweight or obese. So if you fall in either of these categories, where you have a problem and you are extremely underweight, you may have this relationship that maybe you're not eating the right food, or maybe you are having a problem with whatever food you're taking, or there's a much bigger problem that is related to food that is making you extremely underweight. When people now start commenting about your weight, it feels like, kwani haukuli? If you find someone who has lost weight, it is usually followed with, kwani hukuli? Are you not having enough? Or are you on a diet or something? It is always pegged on food. And sometimes these people who have extreme low weight, sometimes it may not be food per se. Sometimes it's something deeper than food that may be causing them to lose this weight, or not to gain weight, or generally not to have the ideal weight for their body, for their age. And now, even for those who are overweight or obese, it's like, punguza kukula. Nakula sana, that's why you are this big. Punguza kukula. You see, it has equally been associated with the food that you eat. So if you fall in all these categories, you're likely to be stressed when it comes to food. But again, it's also one of those areas that I need to really research on. And I also need a counselor's perspective from a psychologist or therapist's point of view, so that you can bridge this whole thing about food and stress together. And now, what is the holiday mindset shift that you're going to have to enable us eat with mindfulness, considering our health, and also enjoying the moment? Because I believe balance is key in everything. And we have a lot of controversies around food. That one, for real. As a nutritionist, I understand. I know how bombarded you are when it comes to the foods, when it comes to food in general, and what, especially processed foods, and what is in the packet. When we talk about something that comes from the farm, there is no much controversy around it, and because it is fresh, it's organic, and so it's one of the best forms of food that you can have. But once this food lands in the factory, that is where trouble comes in. And sometimes it's true, because we have those people who really don't care about people, companies or individuals who just care about the profits they are making, and so they would compromise on anything as long as it brings them money. And this is, of course, the responsibility of the government, the responsibility of all these regulatory bodies to ensure that the food that lands in our supermarkets, or lands in all these shops, or any kind of food that has been processed in such a way that it is healthy for human consumption. But that is also a topic for another day. Now, what is the holiday mindset shift that I want us to have? I want us to know that holidays carry all these emotions. Holiday carry all these vibes. We are enjoying ourselves. Maybe this is the only time that you have to enjoy with family, friends. So it is full of vibes. Sherehe sheria. The mindset that I want you to have is, I'm going to eat mindfully in such a way that I'm going to care about what I'm eating. Yes, I'm going to eat, but I'm going to put into consideration exactly what the type of food or the kinds of food that I'm eating. The next shift is, food is not the enemy. The emotions attached to food are the ones that need to be taken into consideration. Is it guilt? Is it fear? once you realize that what I'm feeling around food is guilt, then we'll have to address the guilt part and not the food part, because food just becomes the representation, becomes the outside view of what these emotions are bringing in. So if it is guilt, then we have to address the guilt first. If it is fear, we have to address the fear first. And another mindset shift is holidays are not a test of discipline. I know we have been trying to make sure that we are eating clean, we are eating healthy, we are considering our bodies and our health when it comes to eating. And so we may have created a routine to ensure that we are eating mindfully. We may have created systems to ensure that we are eating mindfully. But I want you to understand that holidays are not a test of discipline. I don't want you to go into the holidays or experience holidays in an extremely cautious way. I want us to go into the holidays with understanding, because I know the vibe. I love December. I love December because, and that's why I am passionate about anything that carries the Christmas vibe around it. It's also because I am a Christmas baby. I also just love December as a holiday. I want you to walk into these holidays, into these events, understanding, full of understanding, and just knowing that a holiday is just giving you an opportunity to practice discipline, to practice intuition, and also experience balance in your whole body. And sometimes you will find you have gone overboard because of the Sharia thing. You will find yourself taking treats here and there. I want you to remember the memories. I want us not to eat with fear, because when you eat with fear, you are disconnecting from your body. All this time you are in your head. I think you block that responsibility part, because fear sometimes may look like, no, we are taking caution. We want to make sure that we don't drop off the wagon. But you don't realize that what fear does to you is just disconnecting you from your body. But now when you eat with peace, you are connecting to your soul. You are able to make decisions from a soul level compared to you just eating because, okay, let me just have a quarter of this, or let me just take a small sip of this thing. No, I want you to eat with peace. And because you've already brought that peace in the event, even if you're going to pick certain foods over other types of foods. You're going to do that with understanding. You will just do it because it is a part of who you are. Yeah, you want to nourish your body and I feel like my body needs this. I'll give my body this. And so I won't take this because of this and this. Understanding is the whole goal. Now let's jump into the practical ways to eat without guilt or overwhelm. The very first thing you're going to do is start your day with nourishment and not restriction. What does it mean? The very first foundation you set up for the day begins in the morning, and the food that you have in the morning is also going to put that foundation of how you're going to feel throughout the day. That's why we are going to eat with nourishment. And what is nourishment? We are not going to have food that is going to spike our glucose levels in the morning. You realize that if you have a good breakfast, you can actually go for a long period of time without you having energy crashes during the day. So we are going to start our day with nourishment. We're not going to overload our breakfast with sugar. We're not going to overload our breakfast with unhealthy fats and oils. Instead, we are going to take foods that will enable us have enough energy throughout the day, food that is going to nourish our gut, because remember, the body has been in some sort of slump. So the very first food that you introduce in the body is important. The next thing is we are going to portion with intention. Portion control is very important, guys. Portion control, very important, because in as much as you're eating healthy food, if you go overboard with the portions, you're not helping yourself. You're doing a disservice to yourself, just as someone who is not eating something that is healthy for themselves. So we have to portion with intention. Eat when you have to eat, and when you are even eating, don't overeat. Don't just eat because you feel like that thing is calling me to eat. Eat when you really feel hungry, and also eat according to the portions that are recommended. Portion control is among those things that will enable you eat without feeling guilty, by the way, because you're only going to eat what is enough for you. First, ask yourself, do I really need this food? Assuming you are in a buffet, do I really want to have chicken? Do I really want to have meat? Do I really want to have potatoes? Only serve what you really want to eat. and leave the rest for others to serve. And the next thing is also going to hydrate. Hydrate, and hydrate. Guys, kunyweni maji. I know this is something that I'm also speaking to myself because I don't usually take enough water that I'm supposed to have. So it's also good to make sure that you're hydrating wherever you go, anywhere you are at. Make sure that you have a bottle of water with you so that you can hydrate yourself. Another thing is to move gently. Move. Don't just sit. Don't become that bedroom buddy who just stays in the bedroom. Let's have some sort of movement here and about. Don't just be those people who eat and sit, eat and sit. Take a walk, move gently, skip your rope. Probably your exercise routine has been affected and so you are winging it through. Move. You don't really have to have the structured gym routine that you used to have. Just little movements, walking up and down and maybe skipping your rope, dancing a little here and there is also good for you. And lastly, release food guilt at the end of the day. Let's assume you went to an event and then you took something that is not healthy. You holding on to the fact that you've taken something that is not healthy is not beneficial. At the end of the day, I want you to release that food guilt. Tell yourself that I'm allowed to enjoy food and I'll try my level best to make sure that the food that I take is healthy to myself. And in those cases where I'll maybe drop off the wagon, this is not now that time when you decide, okay, I've already broken this rule, so I might as well as just go all in. No, 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 no. Mindfulness, my friends. Mindfulness. Let us do this thing mindful. If you end up not honoring your body the way you are supposed to honor it, at the end of the day, release that guilt. Let it go. It will make you more receptive when it comes to making better decisions. Let's say I had prepared for you a meal plan that you're supposed to follow to achieve a certain goal. And then there's this day when you skipped a meal or you just didn't follow whatever was highlighted on your meal plan. And then because you've already done that, you tell yourself, okay, there's no need for me to follow through with this thing because I've already broken the rules. I've already disrupted my routine, my system. So let me just leave it alone. No, 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 no. For us, there's room for making mistake. But you staying in that mistake or you intentionally choosing to just go with the mistake all along, that is where the problem is. Don't cancel the whole thing just because you have broken a rule. Call out the mistake that you may have done and then reprogram. Your relationship with food is far much important than any calorie you're going to count. It is you first understanding or creating that good relationship that you have with food that will now create this foundation for all these other things that are supposed to follow. It is much easier to follow all these rules about healthy eating, mindful eating, and all these things that pertain to you keeping your body healthy if you understand the relationship that you have with food. If you understand it and then you create that good relationship with it, you will not be feeling like, oh, these people are being a little bit too restrictive or these people are just overthinking through things. That understanding is what will build your relationship with this food because you understand your body, you understand food, and now you can merge these two things together without feeling guilty or overwhelmed. Now, those are just little tactics that will help you enjoy the holiday mindfully and also putting into consideration about our health so that we don't end up feeling guilty or overwhelmed with the process. Now, if these again spoke to your heart, if you have learned something, give it a like, comment, and those who are yet to subscribe, please, please, please subscribe. Let us grow our channel. It will be much, much interesting to see all of us rising up to the best of our capacity or to the best versions of ourselves. At HerNest, we usually say, you come here to get nurtured, you start thriving, and automatically you're going to rise to be the better version of yourself. So until next time, goodbye.